Hi, my name is Bila. I'm going to be doing my speech of persuasion on whether abortion should be illegal. I have one audience member with me. His name is Clint.
How are you doing?
Abortion, first of all, is a really touchy subject, emotionally and politically. There are a lot of people, wondering if the government should intervene and propose a law to make it illegal for an abortion. A lot of people argue, which pro-choice people argue, that it's just a blob of tissue, and the pro-life people argue that it's actually a fetus with a beating heart. So today I'm going to be talking to you about why abortion should be illegal. Abortion is defined as a deliberate termination of human pregnancy. There are several different types of abortion that a woman can have. The first one is a suction abortion. That happens between anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks. The baby is forming hair during that period. It can suck its thumb. It can swallow amniotic fluids. It can do a lot of, normal things that you think a little baby would do. It actually has a beating heart at that time. During the suction abortion, they dilate the uterus and they take a vacuum and suck the baby out. If all of the baby is not sucked out, the woman can in turn get an infection. When that happens, the uterus has to be fully dilated and the rest of the remains scraped out with a scalpel. Just, like a piece of food on a plate. The next type of abortion is a D&E. It's a dilation and evacuation. This is up to 16 to 18 weeks. The doctor uses a forceps. It's got a loop on the end with teeth, sharp teeth, almost like a jaw. And it basically grabs the fetus, twists and mangles the bones, and just pulls the baby right out. The next abortion is for 18 weeks and up. It's a partial birth abortion. What that does is they take scissors, jam it in the back of the skull. They open the scissors and they suck the brains out basically to collapse the skull and just to pull the baby out. There is also a saline abortion that they can do around 12 to 16 weeks. Kind of backtracking here, but they inject it into the womb. The baby digests it. It's a poison. And it's also a corrosive, so it will burn the outer layer of the baby's skin. Then the baby, if the baby isn't born dead, it is born alive, and then it usually dies within a few minutes. According to Livestrong.com, an unborn baby has a heartbeat as early as the end of the first month of pregnancy, which is 4 to 5 weeks. This fact exemplifies that there is human life and that murder is taking place. A fetus has a mixture of human DNA. They have chromosomes. They require nutrients just like you and I do. So there is no real difference between a grown human being and a baby human being. All in all, you have a living human growing inside of another human. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines murder as the unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. So isn't that what the abortion doctors are doing? A woman is premeditating an appointment to go in and have an abortion, and the doctor is fulfilling that. Babies at that age can feel pain. They can't scream because they are still submerged in the amniotic fluid and they can't use their lungs properly. But if you're looking at an abortion through a live video, you can see the baby squirming and thrashing itself against the mother's womb, trying to get away from the sharp scalpel, trying to murder it. There's also a Texas sonogram law now that requires abortion doctors to give sonograms to women who come into the office, and then they come back in another 24 hours after that sonogram has been performed. There are two exceptions. One is rape and one is incest, but that doesn't, a woman could still walk in and say, oh, I've been raped, I don't need a sonogram, and that just clearly, the abortion happens. So it's very easy to get around it. Not only is it gruesomely destructive to murder an innocent child, but there's also health risks associated for the mother as well. According to an abortion blog that I came across, 47% of all abortions result in some type of physical complication. 6% result in total hysterectomies. 6% reported cervical cancer. 8% had blocked fallopian tubes. 9% had infections. 8% had cervical incompetence. 15% had post-operative hemorrhages where they bled out. 22% miscarried a later wanted child. And about 50,000 women of childbearing age die every year from all of these complications combined. Not only do you leave an abortion with a physical complication, but you also leave with emotional scars as well. A lot of women are talked into abortions from their significant others, their friends, their parents, telling them that they have no other options, when in fact, they do have other options. There are a lot of other options out there. According to LifeSiteNews.com, nearly 500 babies were born alive after failed abortions and left to die between 2000 and 2009. There was an abortionist last year who, the babies were born alive, and he actually slit the spinal cords of the babies so they would die and he wouldn't have to basically deal with them. If the mothers were educated beforehand on all of this, all of the complications, all of, how their babies were going to be dismembered if they were born alive or during the abortion, I think a lot of mothers would change their mind. And actually a psychologist agrees with me. They say 90% of women would change their mind if they knew ahead of time every single step that went on in an abortion. When they go into the abortion clinic, it's just, oh, here's a blob of tissue, let's get this done, bada bam, bada boom, you're out. In and out within, 2 to 6 hours. It's a fairly fast procedure. Many children have survived abortions, but it doesn't come without complications later. A lot of women who have their babies survive adopt them out. They can have missing limbs. They can have cerebral palsy from lack of oxygen to the brain. They can have blindness, deafness, all sorts of complications that come along with that. A lot of babies that are born alive are usually tossed into another room that's just where the dead babies are waiting until the truck comes to the abortion clinic later that day to pick them up. Some are just left there to die, but some actually survive, and then the doctors end up calling a hospital to come get them, and that's when they're adopted out. The cons of having an abortion greatly outweigh the pros. If mothers were educated, like I said before, about giving descriptions about the processes and how they're drawn out, they would change their minds. Women's hormones are too emotionally attached to their child. Women are misled all the time by abortion clinics to think that they're just growing a piece of tissue and that it won't feel any pain. We are consistently decreasing the human population by doing this, and it is not right. So it is extremely, at this point, extremely vital for the government to intervene and legalize abortion. Questions?
Yes, as you know, me and you have had alternate views on certain political views. One thing that we have both disagreed on at multiple times was the view of this exact topic. And I was talking to a friend, and I came to the conclusion that I was looking at the perspective of these parents, these potential parents who made this decision, were in good conscience knowing what they were doing, and they had weighed all the decisions out, and between them and God had come to the conclusion that this was their choice, this was their only choice. I never put myself in the perspective of the child that didn't have a say,
voice.
didn't
Yeah.
have a voice. And
The thing is, they do have other choices. They just think they don't. They're led to think they don't. The abortion doctor says, this is your only choice. What else are you going to do? Raise a baby with no income? There's adoption. There's a lot of different choices too. And the thing is, the baby doesn't have a say. So who's speaking for the baby? The mother's being misled. You know, the abortion doctor cares about how much money it's making, doesn't care about, how many abortions can we get in one day. It's all about the numbers and money. That's all it is. And research backs that up. Thanks for listening.